Businesses, unions, civil society, they've all been discussing proposed job cuts in the public sector in South Africa. Now, the Mail and Guardian ran a story indicating that some 30,000 jobs will be cut in the country's public sector over 3 years. CGTN's Angelo Coppola picks up the story.
The talk of some 30,000 job losses in the public sector is not new. It was raised by government negotiators during the most recent public sector wage negotiations. The unions rejected the overtures from government then.
It's something that we are going to totally oppose, seriously oppose. In fact, if there's one thing out there that is going to really break the relations between us and government, including the ANC, is this one of retrenching in the public service. Because we are talking about a job summit in the next month, where we're supposed to go discuss jobs. Why would we go into a summit when government itself is decimating jobs?
Others suggest that a cut in jobs is essential for the financial well-being of the country.
The country cannot afford to keep spending 35% of the entire budget on provincial and national government, and that's leaving aside local government and all the bloated state-owned enterprises. So there's no choice but to cut the size of the public sector. And I would have thought that 30,000 is a drop in the bucket and needs to be much more drastic.
Some sections of organised business agree that the public sector and the state-owned entities are bloated, but there's a bigger problem.
We have high GDP debt ratios, and if you include the public sector debt like Eskom and the parastatals, we're actually running at a 70% debt to GDP ratio. So this is going to be a big problem, and there's no stopping to this train unless they start cutting expenditure somewhere.
The political landscape is also playing into the decisions that are currently being made.
The ANC also needs to understand we will not endorse any manifesto of the ANC if its government is decimating jobs. We're not married to the ANC, we're allied to it. We're allied because we're still convinced that it has the interests of the poor and the workers at heart.
Some are calling for a smaller public sector to stimulate economic activity.
It's because a lot of these public sector employees spend their time interfering in what the private sector does, and their net effect is to destroy initiative, to destroy private enterprise, and to destroy jobs. We cannot afford this luxury.
With official unemployment running at around 27.5%, it's going to be a bit of a tough sell to increase that number if those public sector jobs do get shed. I'm Angelo Coppola for CGTN in Johannesburg, South Africa.